It's April 2022, and I make my way out my bed, I pick up my phone as per usual, and I look at the time. It's 2 p.m. I had my exams coming up, and they were really important at the time, so I needed to get a lot of revision done. So I was ready. I set up a plan, I got up the Excel document. Excel is basically just this app where you can sort out what you can do in a day, or like plan things and all that kind of stuff, and there's other things you can do on it, but that's what I've used it for. And I set up a plan. I didn't really want to do it. It wasn't for something that I was doing for myself. It was something that I was doing just so that my parents stayed happy. So I wrote out this plan and I was getting all ready to do the work. I didn't do the work. The urge of, scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Instagram and all that shit was just so much more than my motivation to do work. So I would grab my phone and just sit down, lay on my bed and scroll. I hadn't even showered at this time. My breath stank. But I would keep scrolling. I wouldn't even do the work that was presented in front of me. Eating the frog is a concept that's actually spoken a lot by the top entrepreneurs. And it's essentially doing the hardest task that you have in the day straight in the morning. As soon as you wake up, do the hardest task. Means that you're able to be as productive and less distracted as possible, and you can actually get the work done. So what you do is you find the hardest task that you have in the day and you do it straight at the start of the day. And that's before you start scrolling on social media or eating your fucking disgusting ass processed foods. You're doing the work first, so you're as motivated and as disciplined and less distracted to do the work as possible. I look back at the mornings, like day by day that I would wake up at 3 p.m, wasting my entire morning, my afternoons, because I went to sleep in, and doing the hard thing as soon as I woke up was the most difficult concept for me to understand. And it's amazing how far I've come from there, because I used to be waking up at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and now I wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I wake up 12 hours before when I used to wake up. The other reason you should do this is that it helps you avoid procrastination. It's because you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing that's in front of you. It's almost impossible to not do the task if you're sitting down right in front of it as soon as you wake up. Your brain is going to want to do the task. Even though it's difficult, you're going to have the most motivation to do it. And I know some of you are coping right now saying that, oh, I can just do it in the afternoon, or I can just do it in the evening. Yeah, you go do that and see how productive you are. Just avoid the morning, yeah? And see how much work you actually get done in the day. You can work like a dog in the mornings. You see, back in the caveman times, our ancestors would wake up and go out hunting instantly. Do you think we would start scrolling on our phones back then? Or do you think we would waste time back then? We would go out and we would go hunt the animal for most of the day and then bring back and reap the benefits of our hard work in the evening or late afternoon. So you can do it. You're just coping and telling yourself that you can't. It's your fucking lizard brain, your smooth brain, telling you that you can't do this shit even though you can. And there's actually a lot of studies done on top of that to show that humans are much more productive in the mornings than they are at night or in the afternoon. We get the most work done in the mornings because we're more motivated and we're less distracted, and it's the start of the day. It's a new day. We don't talk about yesterday, we don't talk about tomorrow, we talk about what we're doing today. And if we think about doing the hardest work in the morning, we can actually get it done. I was often in this position where I would have this massive piece of work towering over me. And the thing is, right, is that I actually wanted to do it. I actually wanted to get the work done. And the reason I wanted to get the work done is because I didn't want to have that guilt of unfinished work plaguing me while I was trying to do the things that I wanted to do that were fun at the time. I always got to it and said I would do this work at 2, then it became 2:30, then it became 3, then it became 3:30, and then suddenly 2 hours had gone by. And if you're watching this, you can probably relate to this. But what I've done now is that I think I've developed a kind of system right in my head where if a hard task is put in front of me, instead of procrastinating and saying I'll do it here, I just tell myself do it now. And I constantly repeat that in my head and again and again and again. And then eventually I'll sit down to do the work because my brain is telling me to do it now. And as soon as I've sat down and started doing it, that's my flow. And once I'm in my flow, I will get the work done. And I'm sure that will work for you as well. Is that when you sit down and you start doing the work, you're in a flow. In a flow state, it's going to continue for you to keep going. I would say it in my head so much that it's now become an automatic thing where when I sit down and I say do it now, do it now, do it now, and I start doing the work, I will actually start doing the work and I'll get it done. And the next thing that will come up and I'll be procrastinating, my brain automatically comes in and it's like, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. And I've reframed my brain to do that so that procrastination simply doesn't exist for me. Because I'm sitting down and my brain's just telling me to do it now at this very moment, and I will sit down and do the work. So I want you to try this right now. Try it with me. Okay, we're going to close our eyes. Okay, I'm going to explain what we do first before we do it. We're going to close our eyes and we're going to think of the task, the biggest task that is giving us the most guilt right now. That is towering over us right now. We're going to close our eyes and tell ourselves, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. And we'll see what happens, okay? Alright, go on. Close your eyes. Now, I want you to constantly tell yourself to do it now. Get that task in your head. Alright, I'm pretty sure you've got it by now. So now keep repeating to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. Alright? Done? You want to do a bit more now, don't you? You want to actually sit down and do the work and stop procrastinating about it. So why don't you sit down and actually do the work? Use this as a frame that any time when you're procrastinating about something, you're probably procrastinating watching this video, which is actually kind of fucking ironic, but whenever you're procrastinating, use that frame to get yourself sitting down and started, because as soon as you sat down and you started, that's your flow, and that's what you use to get the work done. I didn't have the best relationship with my parents growing up. I didn't have that perfect family relationship that you see on TV and that it's made an ideal. I would get reinforced every day by my parents that I was lazy, and that my mum would even say that I would amount to nothing and that I would do nothing in my life. And it's kind of hard to create a positive self-image of yourself when your sole carers are telling you that you're pathetic and you're lazy and you don't do any work, you aren't hardworking, and you're told that every single day in the place that you spend most of your day in. It's kind of hard to not get that reinforced into your mind, to think that you are a lazy person if you're constantly told that. And no, this isn't me blaming my parents for my unproductivity, my laziness. It's not their fault. But it's that as a child with a weak mindset that I used to have, I knew no better. And my brain would instantly reinforce the fact that I was lazy and that I don't do any work. And my self-image was so negative that I would become what they said I was. So if they called me lazy, they called me arrogant, they called me pathetic, that's what I would think of myself, because I thought they knew better. And it wasn't until I actually repaired my self-image and started looking at myself as this productive, positive, hard-working person, where I was able to change how much work I got done in a day, how lazy I was in a day. I changed my self-image into someone who did the hard work, who was different to everyone else, to someone who was an exception, someone who's exceptional. That's what you need to do. You need to put yourself down as someone who's exceptional, someone who's different from everyone else. And then that's how you sit down and start doing the work, because someone who's exceptional isn't lazy. Someone who's exceptional does the work. And if you want to be exceptional, you have to sit down and be productive and do the work that's in front of you. And that's your motivation. It's that if you are this type of person, if you say to people that you're this type of person, you have to do the things to prove you are. From now on, from this video forward, I want you to look at yourself as this productive person, okay? Someone who's hardworking, someone who isn't lazy. And what you notice is that you'll start doing the things of the person you've identified as. It doesn't matter if you don't have the proof, it doesn't matter if you don't have the evidence for it right now, but I want you to look at yourself as that type of person, and then use that little bit of motivation to build the evidence on top of that to prove you are that type of person. And then that's how you stop the laziness, because you doing the work is you not being lazy. So go do the work, man, okay? Go get it.